Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider, and it's time again for another Las Vegas Raiders Insider podcast, joined by my good buddy Noah Strackbein. Now, Noah happens to be a colleague of mine with Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation in the All Steelers coverage. Great job covering the Steelers. In fact, I have friends that are on that team, and I love it when I hear things and see things and find out, man, he is really killing it and doing a good job. So it's great to be with you. I will tell you this, though. This is not a guy to be caught late at night at a bar with.
No, I am not. I am a guy that's in bed by 10 o'clock every night. That's who I
I
am.
was surprised that I left earlier than you.
I know. I just everybody tells me I'm an old man. I'm 27 years old. I'm an old man. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the cats. I got two cats. I think they raise your age. That's what I say.
I'm going to give you credit. I was surprised that I left before you.
Yeah. If
Why?
we're being
Because I
honest,
am
I
the
was
old
too.
man.
Yeah. No, I say that every time. And then I try to push it out. And I'm like so excited the next day. I'm calling my fiance. I'm like, hey, I stayed out till midnight last night. Everybody should be proud of me.
Oh, geez. Now, Noah, let's dig in because the Raiders signed linebacker Robert Spillane, and you know him, you covered him, you know him well. Give us your thoughts. I'm going to talk to you about three different phases. So the first phase I want to talk to you about is on the field. What are they getting on the field?
Yeah. So with Spillane, he's a guy that could literally play every single down. In fact, he did. The last 4 games of the season, he played 100% of the defensive snaps. He's their primary coverage linebacker. I don't know if he necessarily excels in that role, but he's smart enough to take it on and understand what he needs to do. In Pittsburgh, it was very do not let anybody beat you deep, always stay behind guys. And he made sure that he did that. Now he gives up passes or catches, obviously, because of that, but he never gives up a huge play, which I think is ideal for a guy who isn't super athletic, who's still able to cover on the field. But he's obviously a run stuffer. I mean, a lot of people in Pittsburgh will remember him for stuffing Derrick Henry on the goal line 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was two trains colliding. It was a great moment for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their fans. But that's who they're getting. A very, very physical dude who's intelligent, who could play a bunch of roles. He doesn't necessarily excel anywhere, but he's reliable and he could play a 3-down linebacker role if that's what you guys need him to do.
All right, I'm going to ask you this. I had him described by someone who's very familiar with him to me. He's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
He is not any particular great at anything, but very good at everything. Is that a fair assessment in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. That's actually pretty spot on. He's capable of doing literally anything you ask him to do, including special teams. He's always been a great special teamer, but he doesn't excel anywhere on the field. He's still reliable. I think that's why, a lot of guys in free agency had, contracts that were a little bit higher than his, but his was good value because you're getting a guy who you could utilize wherever you see fit, and he's capable of going out there and handling that job.
Were you surprised the Steelers didn't re-sign him?
Yes, I was very surprised. There were 3 guys that I thought were definites to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was Larry Ogunjobi, DeMonte KZ, and then Robert Spillane. And I thought Spillane was the first one that they would have on their list. I don't know if it was money that kept him out of it. He did sign a little bit higher than his, market value was estimated, or that the Pittsburgh Steelers were shopping with a guy like Cole Holcomb that they brought over. But to play 100% of the snaps the last 4 games of the season, and not in a circumstance where everybody was hurt. Miles Jack was hurt, who was their starting inside linebacker, but he was still eligible during games. Devin Bush was sent to the bench, and then they brought up rookie Mark Robinson, who was a 7th-round pick, and they just said, you guys are going to run out there as much as possible. Spillane literally did not leave the field. He played special teams. I thought for sure the Steelers were going to bring him back. Mike Tomlin loves this dude. He's never said a bad word about him. He praises him in coverage all the time whenever, he gets beat and then somebody's got to ask about it. He constantly says, well, Spillane was in the right spot. It wasn't, it was a play that had to happen. Spillane was in the right spot. So I was very surprised. But again, I think that a physical defense he fits well in. And I think that's, from what I've seen from the Raiders, that's a guy that it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to build. All right, I want to talk to you. Second phase, what's he like in the locker room? Because the Raiders are trying to rebuild a culture, and they really like that about him.
Yeah, I think Spillane has a really good attitude. I think he's a leader. He's vocal. He could be a man in the middle of a defense. You know, I get that anybody could be the man in the middle of a defense, but he's a guy that understands where people are supposed to be, which I think helps a lot. He's always open to working with the younger guys, which is cool. He's an experienced vet. He's been through the NFL. He started getting cut from a couple of practice squads. Then he landed in Tennessee. He got an opportunity there. They surprisingly cut him. He ended up in Pittsburgh on the practice squad. Then he worked his way up into a full-time starter role. The guy's been a journeyman, and he uses that to kind of keep himself, I would say, grounded. Like, he's always open for his teammates. I've never met anybody in the locker room that dislikes Robert Spillane. He's always joking with guys. Everybody's always talking about him. So I think that, you know, personality wise, they're definitely getting somebody who is experienced in the NFL and knows how to use that experience for guys who might not necessarily be a first round pick or a second round pick, or a lot of things, I don't want to say are handed to them, but they have better opportunities, where he's a guy who knows how to put your head down and knows how to tell people how to put their head down.
No, last question from me, buddy. But when I'm curious about off the field and away from the facility. I have heard that this guy is never going to get in trouble. He's you're not going to see him out at clubs and pictures on Instagram. He's off the field and away from the facility. He's just going to be a great member of the community. Your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, if you were going to compare an NFL athlete to my be in bed by 10 o'clock, not going out to the bar late, it would be Robert Spillane. This guy, I think he has an Instagram, but he never posts on Instagram. He's never out in the club with anybody, just like you said. He's a guy that's very routine. You know, a lot of guys, everybody in the NFL is a routine based person. They need a schedule. Spillane is no different. He's, you know, sometimes the first guy in there. He's never late to meetings. I just think that, you know, he's a guy that you could lean on to be a true person of character, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Well, he's the great Noah Strackbein. He's my colleague with Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, all Steelers. Does a great job, and he's a good buddy, although he should be embarrassed. I am 52 years old, and I'm leaving the bar earlier than him. Now, I'm just eating appetizers and drinking ice water, and he's not doing anything wrong. But I got to tell you, for 27, you're one of my favorite guys on our team because you act like you're 52.
I appreciate that. Next year, my goal is to hang with everybody and make sure that the narrative just dims a little bit. Just dims a little bit.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks for your time, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, buddy.